Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Thursday morning bite-sized Buhl. My name is Kayla. I'm the staff educator at the Buhl Planetarium. Now, this morning we have a very special tour planned. We're going to go some constellation hunting this morning, and then we're going to look at a meteor shower. Now, we're going to start off by using a program called Stellarium. If you're a return visitor, you may recognize this program. This is a free program that you can use at home, on your computer, on your phone. The settings that we have set to are for Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at midnight on April 22nd. There's a very special reason why we've picked the 22nd that we'll talk about in just a little bit. Now, we are currently looking towards our northern sky. The northern sky is a great place to start when you're stargazing, and it's a very good way to find your bearings because there's a very bright group of stars that are very easy to spot. This is what we call an asterism, or a star picture that anyone can make up. There are 3 stars, 1, 2, 3, that make up a handle, followed by 4 stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, that make up a bowl shape. This is a figure that we call the Big Dipper, or the big spoon in the sky. Now, the official constellation that we find here is Ursa Major, the Big Bear. And our Big Bear is an excellent starting point and a guide to other stars in the sky. Using these 2 stars that make up the outer part of the bowl, their names are Merak and Dubby, we can find one of the most important stars when we're trying to find our way around. Tracing the line between Merak and Dubby, continuing it out into space 5 times the width of those stars, you'll land here. This is the most important nighttime star. Its name is Polaris. You may know it better as the North Star. Now, on our screen here, because of our settings, Polaris looks very, very bright. In the night sky, it's actually fairly dim. It's about number 42 on the list of bright stars. So using the Big Dipper to find this star is a very handy way of finding it. Now, Polaris makes up the handle of another figure in our sky. We often call this the Little Dipper, or the official constellation is Ursa Minor, the Little Bear. Now, once we are facing Polaris, we now know that we are facing north, and we can find one of the very special constellations on the 22nd. Looking northeast, we are going to find a very bright star. Now, there's 2 ways we can find this star. We can either look for a very bright star in the northeast, or we can use our Little Dipper as a guide. Using these 2 stars that make up the inner part of the bowl of our Little Dipper, we're going to trace them out into space until we hit this bright star right here. This star's name is Vega, and it's found inside of Lyra, the harp. Now, astronomers, whenever we are naming things in the night sky, we like to make it easy on ourselves. When we are talking about constellations, we don't just mean those stick figures that you currently see, but we mean everything in this bounded region. There are 88 constellations that make a big puzzle across our sky. And anything that we find in this puzzle piece, we name after the constellation in the center of that puzzle piece. So anything within this group we would call Ursa Minor. So any stars, planets, faraway nebulas, or galaxies, we'll name based on where you could spot them in our sky from here on Earth. And this April, late into April, we are going to see a meteor shower called the Lyrids, which means we can find them near Lyra, the harp. Now, meteor showers do occur much further out. They don't actually radiate from Lyra, the constellation. That just seems to be where they focus at in our sky. So if we bring up this little dot here, we can see the Lyrids are pretty close to Vega in the sky. This is where it's going to look like they come out of. Now, what's actually happening when we see a meteor shower is a little different. And we are going to bring up a little diagram here to show you what's actually happening. And let's reshare our screen here. There we go. So what actually happens when we see a meteor shower? Well, meteor showers occur whenever a comet's orbit comes very close to the sun. Comets are like giant snowballs. They're made up of ice and rock. As they travel close to our sun, the sun starts to melt some of the comet, creating that beautiful tail you often see trailing behind a comet when you spot it in the sky. Now that tail leaves behind debris. And as Earth is completing its orbit around the sun, we pass through the debris left behind from the comet. Now, the comet that is going to produce the Lyrid meteor shower is Comet Thatcher. And this meteor shower is one of the oldest known meteor showers. We've been observing it for 2,700 years. There's ancient Chinese records of them spotting this meteor shower. And we can see here that lovely debris field, but I'd like to take us on a little bit of a journey. We're going to switch programs so that we can actually get a much better view of that debris field. We're going to switch over to our Digistar software. Now, this is the same software that we use here in the planetarium. And let's lift off from planet Earth. Now, as I mentioned, all of those meteor showers that we're seeing are particles left over from those broken up comets that came too close to our sun. Now, Comet Thatcher was discovered on April 5th, 1861 by A.E. Thatcher. And we're going to travel out just a little bit so that we can take a look at our comet's path here. We're going to bring up the orbit of the Earth and fly just a little farther out. Now, I have the same settings on our Digistar software here so that we can see the same sky. There we can see the orbit of our moon. And we're going to fly out. Now, we're going to see some white bumps, like white little dots appearing on our screen here. That is the debris field caused by Comet Thatcher. As we fly out, we're going to see a little bit more of its path here. Now, every year, as we pass through this debris field, some years we're going to, as you can see, we're going to have a lot more debris that we're passing through, so we'll see more meteors per hour. More debris will have been left behind for us to pass through, which means more meteors will be entering our atmosphere and burning up high above our heads. Now this year, as you can see, it's a little lackluster. At its peak, which will be on April 22nd at midnight, which will be our best viewing for it here in Pittsburgh, we're going to see about 20, maybe 25 meteors per hour. But one of the most amazing things about meteor showers is you do not just see them on the peak night. We're going to see them the weeks leading up to and for about a week or two after that peak date. So even if it is a little cloudy that night, make sure you start looking up a few nights early to see if you can spot this meteor shower. And we have just enough time that I'd like to travel a little further away from our solar system. There we can see more of that debris trail left behind from Comet Thatcher. We're going to leave our solar system now so that we can enter an area called the Oort cloud. This is a spherical shell of icy bodies that surrounds our solar system. We are looking at trillions of comets. Out here, it's very dark and very cold, which is just what comets like, since they are mostly composed of that ice material. Now, sometimes to get those meteor showers, those comets get pulled into orbit around the sun. And that's what creates the beautiful comet that you'll see in the sky, but also creates these beautiful meteor showers that we get to enjoy. Now, stay tuned throughout this month as we get closer and closer to that date. I would say start looking up about a week from now. You may be able to spot 1 or 2 meteors, and hopefully we have clear skies April 22nd so that you can spot this meteor shower. Now, here in Pittsburgh, like I said, you're going to want to start looking up at about midnight. That's when Lyra will be high enough in the sky for you to see. Anywhere between midnight and about 5 a.m., which is when we should start seeing the sun rise. I want to thank you all for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed our little talk about meteor showers today. And I wish you all very clear skies and a very happy Thursday. Tune in next week for another bite-sized Buhl right here on the Science Center Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining me today.